Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Let's seek the truth and travel the long road to justice together. What you know, Alibiers, happy Monday. It's October 3rd. This year's just flying on by, ain't it? It's almost Halloween, which we love. So first off, want to say a big thank you to all of the new Patreon subscribers. I am saying this frequently because I don't want somebody who doesn't listen to other episodes get the wrong impression, but it's perk-based. If you do not subscribe, you don't miss anything. It's like nothing's changed. This is for people who wanted an ad-free option of the episode, as well as just a way to support the channel monthly. And so it's just perk-based, some live chats and things like that. But episode-wise, you're not missing a thing. But a big thank you to everybody who's joined over there. We have a great group already, and we're having some fun. Also, thank you to Patricia for the PayPal donation, and your note made me laugh. I'll just say that. So before we jump back into the Vallow Daybell mega series, I will have a Wagner update tonight. But this morning, everybody has opted out so far of being taped or audio recorded. So Big E has had my back. He just shot me the notes from the morning session, so I'll put all that together. We will do a regular recap tonight. Also, this afternoon, George's ex-wife Tabitha is expected to testify. That should be interesting. He has heard rumblings she may opt in to being recorded. I hope she does. I really want to see this. It's going to be really awkward to be in there for her, I'm sure. So, music fact of the day. A while back, we talked about the greatest movie soundtrack of all time, the highest grossing, which was The Bodyguard. But I thought it'd be fun to finish out the top 5 because they're all really good soundtracks. Coming in at number 5, one of my favorites, Dirty Dancing. Number 4, Forrest Gump. So many good songs on that soundtrack. Number 3, Purple Rain. Number 2 was Saturday Night Fever by the Bee Gees. And then, of course, number 1 was The Bodyguard. All great soundtracks. All right, so we left off. It's been almost a month, by the way, since I've done one of these. I was doing them pretty much every day until the Wagner trial started. So with this morning just kind of being a wash and having to wait on notes, I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and do one of these. So we left off where Chad and Lori are in Hawaii around February 12th. They're seen shopping out as if nothing's wrong at a Costco. And Job Allen from Hawaii had put a picture on his Twitter of this. Also, Brandon reaches out to Detective Pillar to talk about getting Melanice to stop the automatic payments on his life insurance policy from coming out. So we're going to jump back in, and we're still on the 12th of February. JJ's school releases a statement to Justin Lum from Fox 10 Phoenix about Lori still logging on to JJ's school app, in spite of the fact JJ has not been there in months. And they said, we cannot speculate as to why Lori or someone using her account or electronics would continue to follow the classroom or our organization during this time frame. So February 13th, a detective emails a screenshot of a text from Lori's iCloud and says, this is the last mention of JJ. They don't give the date that I remember of when that screenshot was taken from her iCloud, and they don't put the contents of that in there. And according to Fox 10 Phoenix, the FBI calls Ian, and he said he would no longer cooperate with the police and the FBI. He said his final straw was when I received a call on Friday from Ricky where he threatened charges of lying to a federal office and or being an accessory to the disappearance of Tylee and JJ, because Melanice couldn't clearly answer questions about the religious aspects of the investigation. After I shared my doubts with her, her world shattered. She couldn't answer those questions because she doesn't know what she believes about those things anymore. There was so much information dumped on her by Chad and Lori that she can't remember what she learned from them, from the podcast she listened to, or on her own. A 20-year veteran FBI agent throwing a hissy fit after one shaky interview tells me all I need to know about how they want to handle this. Don't mince words there, buddy. I don't think I'd be saying anything negative like that. By the way, this is one of my new shirts. So it looks a little fuzzy, but looks better in person. It says, "The dead cannot cry out for justice. it's a duty of the living to do so for them. It's a quote, and then it's got the little logo. I love that quote. I think I'm going to get it and put it back here. So February 14th, Dateline airs their first episode on the case. It was a 2-hour special called Where Are the Children? I remember that episode. We were sitting around wondering, when in the heck is Lori going to be arrested? Little did we know, wouldn't have to wait much longer. February 15th, in an online forum, a family member of Tammy Daybell says that law enforcement showed up at their house after a tip was called in saying that JJ and Tylee were seen in their yard. February 16th, Lori and Chad check out of the resort they've been staying in Kauai and fly to Maui, and they are seen renting a car at the Hertz counter at the Maui airport. So the person that took the picture provided it to Nate Eaton at East Idaho News, because we know at that time Nate was all over the place with this case, him and Justin Lum and Eric from East Idaho News, formerly of East Idaho News. So sent the photo to Nate and Eric and said, Lori had smudged black eyeliner, layers of face makeup, and bags under her eyes. It was a chilling experience to see her in person. I had eye contact with her after I took the photo through the window of Hertz. The woman says, I want to let her know that I saw her, that it's not just the police and the media who are watching her, because there are parents like me everywhere who care about JJ and Tylee and will never stop looking. When she saw me through the glass, I pointed at her and mouthed, I see you, where are your kids? She looked at me, raised her eyebrows, and just shrugged. So they check into a hotel for around $500 a night with an ocean view room and stay for 2 nights. Boy, they are just spending up the money they got when they murdered Tammy, huh? Also, Ian takes a computer to his ex-wife, Natalie, who finds a document which tells the beliefs of the group, and she thinks that Ian was the author. It's later used in the custody battle between Melanice and Brandon. February 17th, in an email between FBI investigators, they say they're getting tips from reporters in Idaho, looking at you, Nate and Eric, that Lori and Chad left Kauai and may be in Maui. February 18th, Fox 13 Salt Lake City reports a woman on the island films Chad and Lori leaving their hotel in Maui. The woman yells to them, I hope they find your children. Lori and Chad say nothing, and then they are on their way back to Kauai. They're spotted at the airport in Maui, and onlookers say they were really quiet and didn't talk to anybody at all except for each other. At 2 o'clock, they fly out of Kauai, and police go to the gate to verify they actually were on that flight. East Idaho News reported passengers on the plane said they held hands and they were lovey-dovey. As they're leaving the airport, a news crew from ABC takes videos of them, and Lori starts videotaping them with her cell phone. These pictures will be in the link in the description for you guys who are only listeners. On the highway, there were signs posted saying, where are the children? The same day, a neighbor of theirs saw them riding bikes. So someone who attended the church Chad and Lori went to for those couple of days on the island told Arizona Family that they actually knew Lori, Charles, Tylee, and JJ when they lived there. They said JJ was still in diapers and Tylee was young, maybe even elementary school age. Of course, they said Lori seemed like a good mom and was protective of the kids. They said Charles was a good dad and protective and was quiet, always smiling, friendly man, nice member, a nice brother. This person reiterated that Lori and Chad don't represent the views of the LDS Church with their doomsday views, and that they don't go around telling people what day, year, or when the world's going to end. So now we're getting down to business. Also on this day, February 18th, an arrest warrant is issued for Lori from Madison County, Idaho. They charged her with 2 felony counts of desertion and non-support of children, 1 misdemeanor count of resisting and obstructing officers, a misdemeanor of criminal solicitation, and 1 misdemeanor count of criminal contempt. And they considered her a flight risk for the following reasons. That number 1, the day she was confronted in Idaho, she fled the state. Number 2, the felony charges are serious with a maximum of 14 years in prison. Number 3, she has no significant ties to Madison County, no home. She has abandoned a significant amount of property there. Number 4, she displayed a willingness to disobey a court order by not producing the kids. Chad and Lori have significant financial resources since Chad got the $430,000 life insurance payout from when she was murdered. And also on this day, they serve a search warrant on the storage unit in Rexburg that had all of the kids' items in it. So we have the probable cause affidavit of Detective Ron Ball that deals with this arrest. And we're going to go through it just because it's kind of what we're doing here is going from A to Z. And so it says on the afternoon of November 25th, 2019, Rexburg PD was contacted by the Gilbert, Arizona Police Department about a missing child, JJ Vallow. He is a 7-year-old boy with autism who was supposed to be living with his adoptive mother, Lori Noreen Vallow, a.k.a. Lori Noreen Daybell, hereinafter Lori Vallow or Lori. Whew. All those names are a mouthful. JJ's grandmother, Kay Woodcock, had contacted the Gilbert Police Department about JJ for a welfare check. It says Lori also has a daughter, Tylee Ryan, as described further in this affidavit. While Rexburg PD was investigating the disappearance of JJ, the investigation grew to include a search for Tylee, who was also missing and has not been seen since September 8th, 2019. I'm aware Lori moved to Rexburg with JJ near the first week of September 2019. I'm also aware JJ was enrolled for 3 weeks at Kennedy Elementary School in Rexburg. I'm further aware he was seen by neighbors at and near his apartment in Rexburg. They have learned the last day JJ was seen alive was on September 23rd, 2019 at Kennedy Elementary School. The next day, on the 24th of September, Lori informed the school JJ would no longer be attending and she would homeschool him. Kennedy Elementary has informed Rexburg Police that no other school has made requests for his transcripts. We've not been able to find any witnesses who have seen JJ since September 24th, 2019. It says, I was familiar with Lori because Rexburg had previously been contacted by Gilbert, Arizona and Chandler police departments who requested help to obtain search warrants for a vehicle in Lori's possession that was related to a possible attempted murder of Lori's niece's ex-husband, Brandon Boudreaux, in Arizona. I'm aware Detective Hermosillo had performed intermittent surveillance on Lori at the request of the Gilbert PD, which started November 1st, 2019. We've been through all that in a previous episode, all this. But Hermosillo reports he never once saw JJ when he was performing surveillance during the month of November 2019. Talks about the car they were looking for was the Jeep, gives the license plate. It's registered to Charles Vallow, who is the deceased husband of Lori Vallow. They were in the process of getting a divorce when Charles died. Then it goes on to say at the time of his attempted shooting, Brandon witnessed the Jeep, which he recognized as being the same vehicle that Tylee Ryan regularly drove. A rifle with the silencer come out of the rear window, and then Brandon's vehicle was shot once in the front door frame. So then it goes, I'm aware through contact with the Gilbert and Chandler PDs that Lori's husband, Charles Vallow, was shot on July 11, 2019 by Lori's brother, Alex Cox. She's now married to Chad Daybell from Fremont County, Idaho, whose wife, Tammy, died in Fremont County on October 19th, 2019. I was informed that Chad and Lori married approximately 2 weeks after the death of Tammy Daybell. I later confirmed they were married November 5th, 2019 on the island of Kauai, though through our investigation, Rexburg discovered photographs of their wedding on a beach in Hawaii. Neither JJ or Tylee are seen in those photographs. So it says on November 26th, Detective Hermosillo and Hope from the Rexburg PD went to Lori's home, 565 Pioneer Road, number 175, to conduct the welfare check. And they met Lori's brother, Alex, and Chad outside. Chad acted as if he didn't know Lori very well and stated he didn't know her phone number. Alex told the detectives JJ was with his grandma in Louisiana, which was not likely due to the fact that Kay was the individual who first called in a missing child report. Alex said Lori may be in apartment 107. Hermosillo and Hope went to 107, but the apartment was completely empty and vacant. At this time, they called me and asked me to come to the premises to help search for JJ. So it says, shortly after calling me, Hermosillo called me again and indicated he saw Chad Daybell driving a black Chevy Equinox away from the residence. He stopped Chad and asked him again if he had seen JJ. Chad said the last time he saw JJ was in apartment 107 in October. He also admitted he knew Lori's phone number and provided it. On that same day, myself and Detective Stubbs located and spoke with Lori in her apartment number 175. She told us JJ was in Gilbert with Melanie Gibb. We obtained Melanie's phone number from Lori. We ended our contact with Lori and immediately attempted to call Gibb. We were unable to contact her. They got in touch with Vallow again and requested she call Melanie Gibb. At this time, Lori said Melanie and JJ were at the movie Frozen 2, so it was unlikely Melanie would answer. We instructed Lori to call Melanie Gibb to have her call us so we could verify the location of JJ. By the evening of the 26th of November, we had still not heard from Melanie Gibb, so Rexburg informed Detective Pillar of Gilbert PD of the information they had regarding the children being with her. And so at 9:30 p.m., Gilbert PD went to her home and she was not there. Detective Pillar contacted her by phone and she said JJ was not staying at her house in Arizona and had not been there for several months. On December 6, 2019, Rexburg was contacted by Melanie Gibb and informed that both Chad and Lori had called her on the 26th at separate times and asked her to tell police she had JJ even though he was not with her. Melanie informed Rexburg that she declined Chad and Lori's request. This further establishes that the statement made to law enforcement by Lori Vallow was false, and Lori knew it was false. The statement made by Lori to Rexburg about JJ being with Melanie Gibb delayed the investigation into the whereabouts and safety of JJ by requiring us to take time to investigate a lead that was verified as false. So they talk about the search warrants they obtained on the 27th, her apartment, Melanie's apartment, Alex's apartment. Talk about it's in the same complex. JJ was not at any of the residences. Most of the clothing in Lori's apartment had been removed. There was furniture in the residence, but they do believe she left Rexburg with Chad that night on the 26th. Melanie's later confirmed they did leave that night. They found evidence in Lori's apartment that JJ was prescribed his medicine for his autism in the form of a pill bottle labeled with his name. I've learned through research that it is a tranquilizer prescribed to treat irritability caused by autism. The last time it was filled was January 2019, and that bottle still contained 17 pills. They verified through the Idaho State Pharmacy Board the prescription had not been filled in Idaho. On the 27th of November, they served a search warrant on the storage unit. Inside the unit, they found a blanket with pictures of JJ, a blanket with pictures of Tylee, a backpack with JJ's initials, toys that appeared appropriate for a young boy, winter clothing, other children's clothing, bikes, JJ's little scooter, and a photo album. Rexburg was made aware that the debit card Lori provided to self-storage was declined on January 2nd of 2020. So soon after we executed the search warrants to find JJ at the apartments, Gilbert asked if we had any record of Tylee Ryan being in Rexburg. Tylee is Lori's biological daughter from her marriage to Joseph Ryan, who is deceased. Tylee has a brother named Colby. I'm aware that Gilbert PD has been in contact with Colby, and he reports the last time he spoke to Tylee was on August 30th, 2019 via FaceTime. He said when he tried to contact Tylee after August 30th, Lori would give excuses as to why Tylee could not talk with him. Through our investigation, we've learned that Tylee moved to Rexburg with Lori on or about September 1st or 2nd, 2019, and have been informed that Lori told Gibb that Tylee was attending classes at BYU-I. However, a records check indicates Tylee was never enrolled at BYU-I or any other school affiliated with BYU. They verified that she moved into the apartment on or around September 1st. And the neighbors also backed that up. They saw Tylee at or around the residence when she moved in with Lori. And the same neighbors who reported this actually helped Lori move into her apartment. They saw Tylee briefly just a couple of times after Lori moved in, but have not seen her since the first couple of weeks of September. Their son played with JJ multiple times. These are the same neighbors who have further informed us through Detective Stubbs of Rexburg that one of their children went to Lori's apartment in late September to play with JJ, and the child was informed by Lori that JJ was not there and that he had gone to stay with his grandmother. Another neighbor of Lori's who lived directly across the courtyard had doorbell camera that recorded JJ playing outside on September 17th of 2019. Through our investigation, we were able to determine through phone records that Tylee Ryan accompanied Lori, Alex, and JJ on a day trip to Yellowstone National Park, on September 8th, 2019. We have obtained a photograph of Tylee at the park entrance through the National Park Service. Also, through a service of search warrant, Rexburg PD has obtained a photo from Lori's iCloud of Tylee in Yellowstone National Park that is stamped on September 8th, 2019. This photo is the last time we can find any record of Tylee being with Lori. We found no witnesses who can verify they've seen Tylee since September 8th. Rexburg has verified that Chad and Lori flew from the Los Angeles airport to Kauai on American Airlines December 1st, 2019. It was obtained through a search warrant served on American Airlines. They could not find any information suggesting that Lori and Chad have returned to the mainland, and it appears they have been in Hawaii since they arrived on the 1st of December. Those same records established that JJ and Tylee were not with their mother when she flew to Kauai. So they give the location that they're living at currently in Princeville, Hawaii. They say that they are in contact with the Kauai police who are monitoring the condo in which Lori and Chad are staying. The children haven't been cited. Further, they're aware that on multiple occasions, Chad and Lori checked into the Kauai Beach Resort and no children checked in with them. That was confirmed by an employee of that resort. A detective with the Kauai Police Department performed surveillance on Lori and Chad and said that he has seen Lori with Chad at least 3 times since he was made aware they were residing on Kauai. And the detective also informed that they had not seen JJ or Tylee. So it says on December 20th, 2019, Rexburg PD and the FBI published a press release announcing that JJ and Tylee were missing and Rexburg was looking for them, asking for the public's help. Since December 20th, this case has received national media attention. Lori has refused to provide law enforcement with any information regarding the whereabouts of her children. See, boys, this has been going on since December 20th, 2019. There's nothing new that this case is all over the news. Through this investigation, Rexburg has learned that Lori used the website care.com to find a babysitter for JJ. And they talked to the babysitter, and she told them that she watched JJ on September 19th and had met Lori and JJ the day before on the 18th. She thought that her employment was to be ongoing, and she reports on the 24th of September, she reached out to Lori, and Lori told her that JJ had gone to stay with his grandma, and her babysitter services were no longer needed. January 16th, 2020, a child protection action was filed by the state of Idaho in Madison County on behalf of JJ and Tylee. That was the court order for Lori to produce the kids within 5 days of service to the Rexburg Police Department or the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare in Rexburg. She was served the order January 25th by a detective from Kauai Police Department. So she obviously didn't produce the kids and has not produced them to this date. It says, other than any current orders and a pending child protection action in Madison, Rexburg has not found any court record or order establishing guardianship or parentage of Tylee Ryan with anyone other than Lori. They talk about the final decree of adoption from Louisiana, stating that Charles and Lori were the adopted parents of JJ, dated July 25th, 2014. As such, the only living parent of JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan is Lori Vallow. It says, between January 24th and 29th of 2020, I was in Hawaii with Detective Hermosillo and the Kauai Police Department. I reviewed video of Lori being served with the order in the child protection case, which was filmed by the Kauai Police Department. While we were there, 2 FBI agents assisted us in performing surveillance on Chad and Lori. On the morning of January 26, 2020, they observed Chad and Lori on a beach. JJ and Tylee were not with them. On the afternoon of January 26, 2020, I observed the Kauai Police Department serve search warrants on the persons of Chad and Lori on a black Ford Explorer they had rented. Said warrants were served on them in the parking lot of the Kauai Beach Resort. JJ and Tylee were not with Lori and Chad. The following items were located in their possession: birth certificates for Tylee and JJ, Tylee's financial transaction card issued by BBVA, JJ's iPad identified by his initials on the back, another iPad which was logged into JJ's Apple account, and JJ's school registration receipts from Kennedy Elementary in Rexburg. Through our investigation, we've learned that Tylee's BBVA transaction card, which was found with Lori, is still active and has been used since the last sighting of Tylee. On January 26, after the search warrants were served on the persons and vehicle, a search warrant was served on the condo that Lori and Chad were staying at. I personally observed Kauai PD perform the search, and in the garage of the condo, there were 2 beach and lawn chairs, 2 yoga or fitness mats, and 2 beach towels. No items in the garage appeared to belong to a minor child. Further, there was nothing found in the condo that appeared to belong to Tylee or JJ, and nothing that would indicate that a 7-year-old boy had been there, such as clothing, toys, books, medication, etc. There was a second room other than the master in the condo. That second room had no signs of being lived in or occupied. They've also discovered JJ has a service dog for his autism. His dog was named Bailey and was trained by a dog training elite in Arizona. On July 22nd, she sent Dog Training Elite an email asking about finding another family for Bailey due to a change in life circumstance. They picked the dog up August 30th, 2019. I've interviewed Chad Daybell's parents, Jack and Sheila, in Springville, Utah. They informed me that Chad and Lori told them in November that Lori was an empty nester. Through this investigation, Rexburg has interviewed Jason and Samantha. I'm not sure how to say their last name, y'all. Gwillem? I'm sorry if I butchered that last name. Who is the sister of deceased Tammy Daybell. They informed Rexburg that Chad told them that Lori had no juvenile children. On February 16th, 2020, Rexburg received a tip from an individual in Maui that Chad and Lori were renting a car from the Hertz car rental at the airport. The informant provided a picture of Chad and Lori. JJ and Tylee were not in the picture. They've reviewed the Rexburg PD and the FBI have reviewed Lori's bank and financial information. No information has been found which would suggest that Lori is providing money to anyone to care for JJ and Tylee. Rexburg has found no evidence or verification of anyone providing for the housing, food, clothing, education, or medical care of JJ since September 24th, 2019, and Tylee since September 8th. As of the date of this affidavit, JJ and Tylee are still missing. So it says, due to Lori being the legal parent and guardian of JJ and Tylee, nobody has seen or verifiably heard from Tylee since September 8th or JJ since September 23rd. She's been living on the island of Kauai, Hawaii since the beginning of December with her new husband, Chad Daybell, and that not once have they been seen with the kids. The condo currently occupied by Chad and Lori contains no evidence that any person other than Chad and Lori are living there. JJ's medication has not been refilled. Financial transaction card was in the possession of Lori that belonged to Tylee. Lori and Chad have represented Chad's family. They have no juvenile children. Lori claims she was going to homeschool. He goes through all the things that we just went through, but it says, I have probable cause that Lori Vallow has deserted Tylee and JJ pursuant to Idaho code. which states it shall be a felony for every person who, having any child under the age of 18 years dependent upon him or her for care, education, or support, deserts such child in any manner whatsoever with intent to abandon it. I further believe probable cause exists that Lori Vallow intentionally and willfully abandoned JJ and Tylee. So they go through, she's given false, statements to the police and everything. And so I just kind of wanted to skim through that because it's just part of the story. So February 19th, Brandon files some documents in his custody battle with Melanie saying Ian has been cooperating with law enforcement. And also that Melanie's new husband has even provided statements to law enforcement that Melanie's told him shortly after their marriage that she conspired with her uncle to kill Brandon. Melanie's new husband has even given up his own parenting time out of fear of what Melanie's might do or have done to his children. It also says Melanie's knows where JJ and Tylee are. So we get to the first best day of this investigation. Lori gets arrested on the 20th. They're put into separate police cars outside of their condo in Kauai. She's arrested around 2:30 p.m. local Hawaii time, and the next day they hold a press conference. She was booked into the Hawaii, just lost my place. Where am I? Oh, Kauai Police Department detention facility and held on a $5 million bond. At that time, she faced a maximum of 14 years in prison on the felony child abandonment charges. Chad was free to go. That blew my mind. Here's her very first mugshot. She's had a few since then, but this is February 20th of 2020. And I remember when the arrest happened, me and Freely were like, oh, where's he going? Why isn't he getting arrested? And we thought that for a very long time. February to June, it's quite a while. And the whole time I'm thinking, maybe they just don't have anything on the dude. But Kauai PD releases a statement breaking down the reason for the arrest and that she'll have a hearing on the island about waiving or fighting her extradition to Hawaii. They also say questions about the case should be directed to Rexburg since they're the primary investigative agency. One of Charles's sons told East Idaho News that when Lori was arrested, it was the first good news he's heard in months and months. You have to think about what his boys have been going through the entire time as well. Not only losing their dad to what they know is very suspicious circumstances, they've lost a little brother and a half sister or a stepsister. So Kay and Larry also talked to East Idaho News and Fox 10 Phoenix, and Kay said, "We are elated. We are relieved. We are ready for the next step, for which Lori is. Where are the kids? Where are the kids? Where are the kids? We knew it was coming. We just didn't know when. I just know they have put so much work into this." Tylee's aunt and Joe Ryan's sister, Annie Cushing, tells KSL TV the thought of Lori not being in a swanky hotel room tonight is the first hint of justice I felt in this process. I feel you. February 21st, Lori is booked into the Kauai Community Correctional Center and gets a new mugshot. Let me find it. Wait, that's her first court appearance. There's her second mugshot right there. She's in orange. She started off. Orange is the new black. Because look, guys, first one was black. Orange is the new black. All right. So Lori appears at her bond hearing. I'm going to tell you guys right now, number one, her defense attorney in this very first hearing was so nervous. I was nervous for him. I felt bad for him. I mean, this case was already all over the news at this point. Everybody was watching this hearing. And so Chatty Boy was in attendance at that hearing. The bond is set at $5 million. Her attorney, Daniel Hempy, that's his name, Daniel Hempy, poor dude, argues it should be reduced to $10,000. And can I just show you a picture of the judge's face when he's saying this? Literally, I screenshot this when he was saying that it should be $10,000. He said, "We're sitting here with a couple of felonies and misdemeanors and $500,000 bill." He literally said $500,000. It was $5 million. And she asked for an extradition hearing to fight being sent back to Idaho and requested a governor's warrant. So they scheduled that hearing for March 2nd of 2020. The prosecutor comes up and asks for no bail, also to have an identification hearing to be held on the 5th of March, and says if she makes bail, he asks that she surrender her passport. So we know Chad was in attendance. He was seen praying with somebody outside the courtroom, according to Nate Eaton. And Nate Eaton said a local also saw Chad at a bank in Kauai on this day. So I kind of wonder if maybe he wasn't, trying to see, can you front me, $5 million or however much it was going to be. After this court hearing is when Kauai PD holds their press conference. February 22nd, Idaho Governor Brad Little makes a statement saying that extradition hearing will come from Madison County in Rexburg. We will run it through our system and then we will send it back and it will go to Hawaii for extradition. And I think that is where it is right now. I hope there's justice and I hope the children are found. On the 24th of February, Chad cancels the lease on that condo in Hawaii and said he planned to move out by the 28th of February. He also visits Lori in jail on this day. Now, a former inmate who was in the Rexburg jail with Lori eventually said Lori complained about the conditions in the jail in Hawaii. She said the jail in Hawaii was so bad. There were roaches on the floor and it was awful. She kept saying how nice Madison was compared to that and how amazing the food was here. She may have it good right now in Madison, but when she goes to the big house to prison, she is one of many, many, many fish in the sea. And high-profile criminals typically don't have a very good time in prison. We covered this on our Glimpse at Life series. If you're new, there is a whole Glimpse at Life series where someone I know that I've known since I was a kid is in prison for murder in California. And she has given us a lot of insight of how high-profile inmates are treated. She is in there with Gabriel Hernandez's mother, which he was the subject of the big Netflix documentary. And frequently she will attack guards just to be put in solitary because she's a target. So somewhere around this time, a post is put on the AVAL message board. And it says, had another conversation with Chad this evening. There were 30 different news agencies camped outside his condo, all trying to get him to talk. They're sticking to the original plan of saying nothing whatsoever about the kids until they are in court. Yes, there is a plan and they are following it to the end. Yes, there really is a compelling reason for them not to offer up a photo or video or voice recording of either of the kids. Yes, I still stand by my previous comments that the kids are just fine, alive, and well. Didn't age well, buddy. Shame on you. Chad has been working on writing down their side of the story. And just as soon as they're actually in a courtroom, we will get all the hidden details that will explain to everyone just what has been going on. Sorry for being cryptic, but as was just proven recently, everything I say on here on behalf of him will be used against him in the court of public opinion and in the court of law. We have but to endure a few more weeks of this media circus and all the hate, false accusations, and innuendo. Once the extradition has been completed, Chad will return to defend himself at long last. So prosecutors also released Chad's first Hawaiian bank balance, saying he has $152,000 in there, and his average balance is $132,782. They use this to show that Lori is a flight risk, has the means to flee. Now, Morgan Lowe interviewed Janice and Summer on Arizona Family in May of 2020 about this time frame. And Janice said she talked to Lori after her arrest and asked how the kids were. She said, as far as she can remember, Lori said, "You know me, Mom, the kids are fine." Summer said she has told her the same thing. The governor of Idaho's press secretary also says they have not received a request for Lori's extradition. So Chad is tracked down by ABC News reporter Marcus Moore at a gas station. When asked if the kids were okay, Chad says, quote, "I can't comment. I just can't comment." When asked by Marcus if there was anything he would like to say to people who are concerned about the kids, You or your wife, Chad said, just grateful for any support. Wait, and I got to do Chad voice. We just have to wait for the legal process to work through. So Kay and Larry talked to KTVB7 saying there's no chance they think Lori will bond out in Hawaii. And they also think Chad will be arrested as well. And Kay said that there was never a custody battle about JJ. Annie Cushing talks to East Idaho News after it was revealed Tylee was last seen at Yellowstone, saying one of the really pressing questions that I've asked throughout this entire thing is, when was Tylee last seen? I've asked that question over and over. I was glad to have some kind of a date stamp, but at the same time, it was clearly a disconcerting thought of her being out at this national park with this cast of characters and just wondering what they had on their minds. February 25th, Chad visits Lori in jail for 1 hour privately. And I think there's a little stink about this. The Hawaii Department of Public Safety says they can hold separate visits when high-profile situations creates higher than normal levels of attention, traffic, and security strain for our small jail facilities. Before he goes inside, he's seen in the parking lot on a phone call. And then let's see. Here's some pictures of that. He walks around a Walmart for 20 minutes holding a piece of paper, and he still has it in his hands when he leaves. He's seen in the parking lot of a Walmart talking on his cell phone in what is described as an intense conversation by eyewitnesses. One of the photographers, I believe, this middle picture said he was like plucking his eyebrows out. You know, what's crazy to me is like, if you look at Chad when Lori was kind of with him, he was kind of cocky and all that, but then he got super nervous when he was alone. Lori files a petition to have her bail lowered, and Arizona Family reports sources close to the investigation say detectives are waiting for the snow to melt in Yellowstone to begin searching for more clues about Tylee's whereabouts. So February 26th, Lori has her second court appearance, and she waives extradition. She had a new attorney who asked again for that bond to be lowered, and Kauai County prosecuting attorney argues bail is sufficient and notes that she has a history of defying court orders recently, as well as in 2009 and 11 during her custody battle with Joe Ryan. Chad was not at this court hearing. Her bond stayed at $5 million. So while this hearing is happening, Chad is seen at the condo helping movers load a truck of their stuff. And also he was seen at a supermarket buying a Sharpie, probably to write on his little boxes, "Back to Idaho. Idaho or bust." The same day, Kay and Larry attend a telephone conference with Judge Edens about guardianship of JJ. Melaniese's attorney releases a statement denying she knows where JJ and Tylee are and that she didn't have anything to do with the attempt on Brandon. So this is the news release by Robert Jarvis. And the title of this, Melanie Pulowski does not know the whereabouts of her aunt's children. Brandon Boudreaux lies to wrongfully influence the child custody case. Media irresponsibly reports one-sided and unsubstantiated accusations. Brandon Boudreaux hides his own family's dark and sinister acts and past. This came back to bite him in the booty because Brandon got millions and millions of dollars in a defamation lawsuit. Good for you, Brandon. So it says, Miss Melanie Pulowski, represented by Robert Jarvis and Garrett Smith of the law offices of Robert Jarvis, strenuously denies the innuendos and allegations that she knows the whereabouts of the missing Vallow kids and that she's been involved in any wrongdoing. Mr. Jarvis stated, Mrs. Pulowski has cooperated with law enforcement, included meeting for hours with the FBI on 3 separate days. As she told the FBI, Melanie does not know the whereabouts of the missing children or her Aunt Lori. Brandon has a history of victimizing women, which is probably an extension of his use of extreme and dark. I'm not even going to read this because you know what? Brandon won a lot of money and I'm just not even going to put that back out there because Brandon seems like a really good dude. And we ain't gonna go there. We're just gonna say it had a lot of diabetes in it. The lawyers had a case of diabetes and they paid for it in a big, big way. February 27th, Chad moves out of the condo and a woman sees Chad in the parking lot of a thrift store in Kauai and stops and talks to him for a few minutes. She asks if Lori can't just say where the kids are. Chad says it's not that simple and specifically calls out East Idaho News, saying it's a circus and it's being reported wrong. She asks if he's LDS, and he says yes. She takes pictures of Chad leaving and sends it to Nate. So Nate goes public and says, Chad, I love Nate. Nate's like, Chad, if you see this and we're indeed getting our stories wrong, please call me, email me, message me. I will talk to you and listen to you. Help me clear up any rumors. Let me hear your side and tell the world your thoughts, because this story isn't going away and neither are we. Boom. Later, Chad is seen at the airport leaving Hawaii. People grab their cell phones, start recording, asking him, where are the kids? And look at these people staring at him. Look at this dude in green. He is just giving him the stink eye. So, yeah. So I think we'll stop here. I'm making sure that I've got all the pictures that I went through that I had. That second mugshot, orange is the new black. Yep, we are done, y'all. So it's been a minute, and we'll do another one of these as time allows. I just had time today and thought, let's do one, because we've had a lot of news in this case. So you can go check the YouTube shorts. If you don't subscribe to YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. And if you hit that little bell button, it'll tell you every time I upload anything. I'm using these shorts a little bit more now. It's nice to have a place where, like last week when John Pryor said, hey, I want cameras, I was able to do a little YouTube short because it didn't really fit for a whole episode. So anyways, I appreciate you guys. We'll see you later tonight with a new episode, summing up today's testimony in the Wagner trial. And hope you have a good rest of your afternoon. See you tonight.